Have you ever replayed a conversation in your head, again and again, wondering if you said something wrong? Maybe it was something small, a message you sent, a joke that didn't land the way you expected, or maybe someone replied differently than usual. And now your mind keeps going back to it. You start asking yourself questions. What did they mean by that? Did I sound weird? Did I say too much? And suddenly, a moment that lasted 10 seconds turns into hours of thinking. You replay it. You imagine different versions of it, different ways it could have gone. You think about what you should have said, what you could have said, and somehow, every version feels better than what actually happened. Maybe you've done this after sending a message. You type something, send it, and then immediately regret it. You open the chat again, read it over, delete it in your head, even though it's already sent. Then you wait, and when they don't reply quickly, your mind starts filling in the gaps. Did I say something wrong? Are they ignoring me? Did I annoy them? Even though nothing actually happened, your brain creates a whole story. Or maybe it happens after a conversation in real life. You walk away and suddenly remember something you said, and now it feels wrong, even if it wasn't. You start imagining how the other person saw you, what they might be thinking about you now. And the more you think about it, the more uncomfortable it feels. And the worst part is, you know you're overthinking. You tell yourself to stop. You try to distract yourself. But your mind just keeps coming back to it, like it's stuck, like it won't let go. So why does this happen? Why does your brain keep looping the same thoughts, even when you know it's not helping? The truth is, overthinking isn't a flaw. It's a protection system. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not comfortable. And one of the biggest threats your brain tries to avoid is social rejection. Because for most of human history, being rejected didn't just feel bad. It was dangerous. Being excluded from your group meant losing protection, losing support, sometimes even losing your chance to survive. So your brain adapted. It became extremely sensitive to anything that might lead to rejection. That's why it pays so much attention to small reactions, tone of voice, facial expressions, the way someone replies. Even something as simple as a delayed message can feel important because your brain is trying to answer one question: am I safe socially? And when it's not sure, it keeps thinking. It replays the moment. It analyzes every detail. It tries to predict what could happen next, not to hurt you, but to protect you. But here's where things start to go wrong. Your brain doesn't just analyze reality, it also analyzes possibilities. And that's what creates the loop, because your brain doesn't know the difference between something that actually happened and something you imagine. So it creates scenarios. What if they think I'm weird? What if I embarrassed myself? What if they don't like me anymore? And each of these thoughts triggers a reaction. You feel anxious, uncomfortable, uneasy. So your brain tries to solve it. It goes back again, replays the situation, looks for new answers. But instead of finding relief, it creates more possibilities, more scenarios, more things to worry about. And now you're stuck, thinking, analyzing, imagining, feeling, and then thinking again. This is what's called a cognitive loop, and the more attention you give it, the stronger it becomes. Over time, your brain learns, this is important, keep thinking about it, and eventually, it becomes automatic. You don't even notice it starting anymore. It just happens. Sometimes when you're trying to sleep, sometimes when you're doing nothing, sometimes in the middle of your day. Your mind just drifts back to something that already happened. There's something else most people don't notice. Overthinking doesn't just show up in big moments. It shows up in the smallest parts of your day. Sometimes, it's when you're about to send a message. You type it out, read it once, then again. You change a word, delete a sentence, rewrite it completely. Not because it's wrong, but because you want it to sound just right. And even after you send it, you still think about it. Other times, it shows up in conversations. You're talking to someone, but part of your mind is watching yourself.
Shoulders
How do I
down
sound?
and back.
Am I saying the right thing?
You are
Do I
far
look confident?
too stiff.
So instead of being present,
Relax
you're analyzing
your
yourself in
neck.
real time. And later,
Better,
you replay the
but
entire interaction
still not
again and
quite
again,
right.
trying to find something that might be wrong. It can even show up when nothing is happening at all. You're lying in bed, it's quiet, and suddenly, your mind brings up something from the past, something small, something random. And now you're awake, thinking about something that already ended. This is what makes overthinking so exhausting. It doesn't need a reason, it doesn't need a big event, it just needs a moment of silence. And your brain fills it. And here's the part most people don't realize. Overthinking can actually feel productive because your brain thinks, I'm working on something, I'm solving a problem, I'm figuring this out. But in reality, you're not solving anything. You're repeating the same thought in slightly different forms. And that's why it feels like progress, but leaves you mentally exhausted. So what actually helps? It starts with a simple shift. Most people are not thinking about you as much as you think. They're too busy thinking about themselves. That conversation you keep replaying, they've probably already moved on. That message you're worried about, to them, it was just another message. That moment you think was awkward, they likely forgot it minutes later, because just like you, they're focused on their own thoughts, their own worries, their own lives. And once you start to understand this, something changes. You stop trying to control every detail. You stop trying to replay every moment. You stop trying to fix something that doesn't need fixing. And slowly, your mind starts to quiet down. Not completely, but enough. Enough to feel a little more at peace. Overthinking isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that your brain is trying too hard to protect you. But not everything needs to be analyzed. Not every moment needs to be replayed. Sometimes, peace comes from letting things be exactly as they are.